Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We are learning Mishna Yevamos, Parak Aleph, Chapter 1. Meretz Hashem, today we will finally finish Mishnah Aleph, Mishnah 1. But again, let's just run through it and get to where we're up to and then finish up. Again, Parak Aleph, Mishnah Aleph. Chamesh Esrei Nashim, 15 women. Paitros Sarasayan, exempt their co-wives. But Sarasayan and the co-wives are their co-wives. Chalitza and Yibam, both from the mitzvah of Yibam and from needing Chalitza. Atzayfa Elab, and this can go on for forever, depending again on how many brothers there are. The Elohim, these are the 15 women. Bita, meaning these are the women that if they are an erva to you and they fall to you for Yibam, there would be no mitzvah of Yibam whatsoever. The Elohim, these are they. Bita, his daughter. Bas Bita, his daughter's daughter. Bas Benai, his son's daughter. Bas Ishtai, the daughter of his wife. Not his daughter, but his wife's daughter. Ubas Benah, or the daughter of her son. Ubas Bita, or the daughter of her daughter. Chamaisai, one's mother-in-law. If your mother-in-law lands up marrying your brother. The Aim Chamais, or the mother of one's mother-in-law. The Aim Chamiv, or the mother of one's father-in-law. And they fall for Yibam to you through your brother. Again, no Yibam. Achaisei Me'imai, if the situation is one's sister from his mother, who married his brother from his father. Those two were not related whatsoever, therefore they got married, but now when she falls to you, if the brother dies without children, it is your sister from your mother is coming to you for Yibam. Ba'achais imoy, or let's say your mother's sister. Ba'achais ishtai, or in a situation where your wife's sister, two men are married to two sisters, and one dies without children, so it comes out that his wife's sister is falling to him for Yibam. Ba'ishasachav me'imay, or let's say the wife of his brother from his mother. Again, who married his brother, who she had no relationship to, no connection to whatsoever from the point of marriage. Or a situation where the wife of your brother that was not alive together with the brother who died. The brother died. Afterwards, there was a brother who was born, and then Yibam was done by the other brother, and then that other brother who was together alive with the brother who passed away. Then he passed away. So now the only brother left for Yibam is the brother who was not born before the first brother died. That woman's an erva, and therefore there will be no Yibam or Chalitza. The Kalasa, you're in a situation where one's daughter-in-law married one's brother, and then she fell to you for Yibam. The rule is by all these 15 women, Hare Elu, Paitrais, Sarasayan, Vitsaras, Sarasayam, and a Chalitza, and a Yibam, at Seifa Elam. All these women exempt their co-wives, and the co-wives are their co-wives from Chalitza and from Yibam. Again, and this can go on for as long as many forever, meaning in the sense of no matter how whatever the amount of brothers there are, then this whole exemption of a co-wife's co-wife can just continue going on and be exempt. All right. Now this is where we're up to. The point of what we're about to read now is that the only time there is an exemption of a co-wife to an erva from Yibam is only when they were co-wives when the brother died. When the brother died and both women fall to this person for Yibam, then we say, well, the erva has no Yibam and the co-wife has no Yibam. But let's say they were co-wives at some point in time, but they stopped being co-wives by the time the brother died. So when the brother died, she's not the co-wife of an erva. Meaning, let's say the erva was not married to the brother anymore by the time before he died. And then he dies, and the only wife left is the co-wife of the erva. She's not the co-wife of the erva when the brother dies. They were co-wives previously. The point of the Mishnah is going to be that in that situation, there is no exemption to the co-wife. The entire exemption of the co-wife from Yibam is only where they were co-wives when the mitzvah of Yibam took place. But if it comes out that before Yibam took place and before the brother died, there were no co-wives anymore, the erva is not in the picture anymore, then the co-wife has a mitzvah of Yibam. So let's read. The Kulan, and regarding all these women, Imesu, let's say they died. I mean, let's keep the case simple, right? Mm-hmm. You have two brothers, Reuven and Shimon. Shimon, daughter, married Reuven, okay? And Shimon had another wife. So we say that if when Reuven died, you have his wife was the daughter of Shimon and the co-wife they were co-wives by the time Reuven died. But I'm sorry. Yeah, they were both co-wives by the time Reuven died. So then we say that there'll be no Yibam. But if let's say it came out like this, it came out that you had Reuven's daughter was married to Shimon, and Shimon had another wife, and then the daughter of Reuven died, and then Reuven died without children. Okay, then Reuven died without any children. So what's going to happen now to the wife of Shimon? I'm sorry. I'm getting way too confused here this morning. Okay? Way too confused. Way too confused. Okay? Where you have a situation where you have, Reuven and Shimon are brothers. Reuven has a daughter. That daughter married Shimon. And Shimon had two wives, the daughter of Reuven and a co-wife. Now Shimon dies without children. So now, both wives, they were both wives of Shimon when he died. The Erva was a wife, and the co-wife was a wife. That's where we say that since the Erva Reuven cannot do Yibam on his daughter, he cannot do Yibam neither on the co-wife of the daughter. But in that scenario, you had where Reuven's daughter married Shimon, and Shimon had another wife. And then Reuven's daughter died. And then Shimon died, being that the Erva, the co-wife, was not even married to the Erva when Shimon died. So then there's no exemption from Yibam. Then Yibam will be done on the co-wife. Because when Shimon died, the Erva wasn't married to Shimon anymore. She had already passed on. Or let's say, Oimianu. Or let's say the Erva, Reuven's daughter, performed what's called miyun. Now, miyun is like this. Let me read to you here from the way they explain it. According to biblical law, a father may give his underage daughter, meaning his daughter is a katana. He may give his daughter who is a katana in marriage to somebody else, whether she likes it or not. He can give her over for marriage to somebody. In the case of an orphan, there is no father. The sages gave this right to her mother or brothers. According to Torah law, mother or brothers can't do it, only the father. But midrabanan, the rabbis gave the power to the mother or the brothers to do it. Now, in addition, if a father gave his underage daughter in marriage to someone, and then the husband divorced her or died before she had reached maturity, she's still a katana. She's still a katana. She's still underage. She's still under bas mitzvah. The sages allowed her to marry someone else without her father's consent. But that's midrabanan. So we have two possible cases of where a katana, a girl who is a katana underage, could actually she could be married midrabanan, either because she was married off by her mother and her brothers because her father died, or even if she was married off by her father, again, as a katana, as a minor, and that marriage is, and that's a real marriage. That's a marriage d'oraisa. But now it comes out that husband divorced her, so now she's no more under the jurisdiction of her father. And midrabanan, again, according to midrabanan, she can get married on her own. In both those cases where she got married midrabanan, if she decides she wants out, she just has to declare, I'm out. That's called miyun, refusal. You don't need to get. If this is only while she's a katana, she still has to be a katana. She still has to be underage. If that's what she is, so then the same way she got married, midrabanan contra rabbinic law, the rabbis gave her the power just to say, I'm out. So now, if let's say the case of the Erva, who was, again, let's say the case of where Shimon was married to Reuven's daughter, but that daughter who was an Erva to Reuven, she was married to Shimon only midrabanan. Now don't forget, Reuven's still alive. So if Reuven's still alive, she got married to Shimon midrabanan because Reuven had married her off to some other guy. That guy divorced her. She's no more in the jurisdiction of Reuven, but she went ahead and she got married to Shimon, his brother, which is a rabbanan marriage. Now, we say that in that situation, if when Shimon died, she would have been married to Shimon and a co-wife, we'd say midrabanan, there wouldn't be any yibum here. We'd say midrabanan, there's no yibum here. But let's say she's mamayan. She says, she goes to Shimon, I'm out of here, I'm done with you. So it comes up, then Shimon died. So that means by the time Shimon died, the Erva was not married to him anymore. So then the Erva is not going to be exempt from Yibam. Next case. Oishin is Garshu. let's say they got divorced, right? That erva was married to Shimon, whatever way she was, midaraisa, she was married to Shimon, right? Reuben's daughter married to Shimon. And then Shimon divorced her. And then Shimon died. So again, was they ever married to Shimon when he died? No. If she wasn't, so then when Shimon dies, the co-wife will have a mitzvah of Yibum. Or let's say it comes out that Reuven's daughter, who was married to Shimon, was found to be an islandess. Now, an islandess means a woman who, at a certain point of time, she developed, or we see on her certain physical traits that tells us she cannot have children. And I think we'll have later on in the Mishnah is what makes a woman an islandess. But basically, she's missing certain physical features, and at a certain point of time, if those features don't develop, she is called an islandess. She will not have children. And if that happens, that means the whole marriage to begin with was a mistake. It's called the mekach toyes. If you would have known that that's what this girl is going to turn out being, you never would have married her. So the whole marriage is automatically annulled. So in a situation where Reuven's daughter married Shimon, and then at a certain point of time, it comes out, it's determined she's an islandess. That means she was never married to Shimon. And then and therefore the whole marriage was annulled. And then Shimon dies without children. The co-wife is going to have a mitzvah of Yibum, because it comes out that when Shimon died, the erva and the co-wife were not married to Shimon when he died, for both them to fall to Yibum, to Reuven. So in this case, we say, in this case, the halacha is, sareisei and mutares. Their co-wives are permitted. Yibum can be done on them, because at the time when Yibum would take effect, she wasn't the co-wife of an erva anymore, because erva wasn't married to her husband. And therefore, they're not co-wives. At the fact that they were at one time co-wives doesn't make an exemption for Yibum. The Yibum exemption is only when they're co-wives at the time when the brother dies, Yibum takes place. Now the Mishnah says one more caveat. Right? We had 3 examples. 3 of the 15 women that exempt were his mother-in-law, who married his brother, his mother-in-law's mother, who married his brother, or his father-in-law's mother, who married his brother. In all these cases, you cannot have a situation of shenimtzu islandess. They were come out being an islandess, or that they performed refusal. Because number one, if it comes out she was an islandess, that means she can't have children. If she can't have children, right, then she can't be your mother-in-law or your mother-in-law's mother, your father-in-law's mother, because she can't have any children. So just not possible. And the whole scenario is not possible. Yeah. And then the other way it's not possible is in the case of mian. Mian can only be performed by a katana. If the katana becomes a gedola, she becomes a gedola, she becomes mature, then she can't do the refusal anymore. So the only time she could do refusal is when she's a katana, when she's a minor. But when she's a minor, she can't have children. That's the assumption. When she's a minor, she can't have children. And therefore, if she can't have children, she's a minor, again, you can't have a situation where your mother-in-law or your mother-in-law's mother or your father-in-law's mother is married to your brother, performed mian before he died, because there would be no other children around to go with it. If she's a katana, she couldn't have children. She can only do mian, she can only do the refusal while she's a katana. But while she's a katana, she can't have children. So it's not possible for her to be one's mother-in-law or the mother-in-law's mother or the father-in-law's mother. So therefore, when we said before that, by all of them, there are 4 scenarios where this whole exemption won't take place. In some of them, 2 of the scenarios being an islandess or refusal wouldn't be possible. Okay. All right. Now, the kol elo adinim shekasavnu. Everything we've been saying until now, says the Chofetz Chaim, which is where we're talking about this person who went ahead and you know that he knows he sinned. There's no question about it, but he only did it once, and so we're talking about it. Only did it once. Maybe he regretted, so you can't go and tell other people about it. The only people you could tell about it are people who can maybe stop him from repeating. You have to rebuke him. If your rebuke won't help, you can tell it to other people who could stop him. We're talking about a person who his general practice is to regret what he's done wrong. But if you know this person's way of life, he he has no fear of God. V'tamid yisyas v'derech lo tov. He is constantly standing on a path that is not the path of good. He's a person who's thrown off the yoke of Shemayim. He's thrown off Yiddishkeit. He's thrown it off. We're not talking about a person who didn't know. Throwing it off means he knew, and he abandoned it. He abandoned Yiddishkeit. Or he does not care about one specific sin. That everybody knows is a sin. But this one thing he doesn't care about. Meaning the Aveira that he did, that you want to now reveal to others, the sinner did many times intentionally. Or again, he went ahead and he transgressed something that again everybody knows is sinful. It's a sin. Now it's clear. It's not because he had a temptation that he craved into. He's just does whatever he wants. And there's no fear of God he has no fear of God. You'd be able to embarrass him, to shame him. And to tell of his wrongdoings, whether in front of him or not in front of him. Okay, so this is a very, very strong idea that if you have, now again, this is not something necessarily to jump at, but if you have a real situation where somebody is sinning, he repeats the sin, he could not care less, he basically has abandoned Yiddishkeit, and we're talking about a person who knows better. He knows better. He knows not to do it, he just had abandoned Yiddishkeit in general, or he abandoned a specific sin or mitzvah, a specific one, and you just know he doesn't care. That's the kind of situation. He doesn't care. He's basically, we call him a Rasha for what he's doing. In that situation, you will be able to tell others about what he's doing and not have to worry about him being degraded by other people. But again, this is something that we're talking about in theory. When you talk about it in a real practical situation, there's really a lot to discuss about, even pinning on someone who may have been from at one time and then who abandoned it to say that he falls under this category. But the Chofetz Chaim is talking about such a scenario. Have a wonderful day. Shabbat Tov, good tvach.
Thank you.